Today, we're decoding something intriguing. French President Emmanuel Macron just visited China, but this wasn't your typical diplomatic handshake and smile trip. This was high-stakes poker, with billions of dollars on the table, and the future of global trade hanging in the balance. Picture this. Europe's elegant leader lands in Beijing. He's brought France's biggest CEOs with him. Airbus, BNP Paribas, Schneider Electric, the whole gang. They're hoping for deals, but there's tension in the air. Because Macron isn't just there to make friends. He's there to deliver some hard truths. So what happened? Did China blink? Did France get what it wanted? And why should India care about any of this? Hello and welcome. You're watching Statecraft with me, Geeta Mohan. First, let's understand the problem. Europe has a massive headache, and that headache has a name: trade deficit. Here's what's happening. Europe buys way more from China than China buys from Europe. Since 2019, this gap has grown by nearly 60%. For France alone, it's even worse. They're buying $45 billion worth of Chinese goods every year, but China only buying $35 billion from them. There's a $10 billion hole every single year. Now, what is China selling to Europe? Cheap clothes from China, gadgets, accessories, electric vehicles that cost half of what European cars cost, solar panels, batteries, all heavily subsidized by Beijing. And here's the kicker. There's an EU rule that says if you buy something under 150 euros online, you don't pay customs. Chinese platforms like Shein have exploited this brilliantly. They're flooding Europe with cheap parcels. European manufacturers can't compete. Jobs are disappearing. And Macron, he's furious. But wait, there's more. France used to be the tech giant. They sold Airbus planes to China, nuclear technology, high-value machinery. Now, tables have turned. China's climbing up the value chain. They're building their own passenger planes. Their nuclear technology has overtaken France's. Macron himself admitted it. Europe used to sell technology to China. Now, Europe needs to buy technology from China. Batteries, electric vehicles, solar power. It's a complete reversal. And it stings. Macron went to Beijing with a plan. Actually, multiple plans. Some friendly, some not so friendly. Plan A, be diplomatic. Macron and Xi had what they called friendly and candid talks. They signed 12 cooperation agreements: nuclear energy, education, population aging, and yes, even panda conservation. China is lending France 2 more giant pandas from 2027 because nothing says let's fix trade imbalances like adorable bears.
This year marks the 50th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between China and the EU. The essence of China-EU economic and trade relations lies in complementarity and mutual benefits, which can achieve a dynamic balance through development. Interdependence is not a risk, and intertwined interests are not a threat. China and France should work to promote and uphold the China-EU comprehensive strategic partnership and jointly create a brighter future in the next 50 years of China-EU relations.
But here's where it gets interesting. Behind the smiles, Macron delivered a warning, and according to him, it wasn't subtle. In an interview after the trip, Macron revealed what he really said, and I quote, "I told the Chinese their trade surplus is unsustainable. They're killing their own customers. If they don't react, we Europeans will impose tariffs." Just like America is doing. Boom, cards on the table. Now this is fascinating because Macron is essentially saying, look, we don't want a trade war, but you're leaving us no choice. You're selling too much and buying too little. Fix it or we'll fix it for you. Macron also pointed out something clever. Europe is caught in the middle. On the one side, America's Donald Trump with his tariffs and protectionism. On the other side, China flooding markets with subsidized goods. Europe has become what Macron calls the adjustment market, meaning Everyone dumps their problems on Europe, and European industry is getting crushed. But Macron didn't just threaten, he also offered solutions. He proposed a deal. Europe would lift restrictions on selling semiconductor machinery to China. In return, China would stop limiting exports of rare earth minerals.
You know how much France wants and is working towards greater European strategic autonomy. And in that context, we hope to work in a positive spirit with China on the basis of a balanced relationship based on equality and mutual respect. And that's exactly what drove our discussions this morning. Europe and China have a role to play in laying, alongside other partners, the foundations for fair and robust global economic governance, based on rules and not the law of the strongest. The imbalances that are accumulating today are unsustainable. They pose a risk of financial crises. They imperil our ability to grow together. That is why I am convinced we have everything to gain from better coordination. And in this sense, the agreements we have signed today will allow us to re-establish the terms of our bilateral cooperation and also more cooperative, multilateral dialogue. Europe must reform itself to become more competitive and make more investment. China must pursue its agenda of strengthening domestic consumption, and we must find a framework for increasing Chinese direct investment in Europe, and in France in particular, to create added value and opportunities for employment.
These minerals are crucial. They're used in everything from car batteries to wind turbines to smartphones. Without them, European tech and clean energy sectors are in trouble. Macron also called for Chinese companies to invest more in Europe, not just to sell products, but to build factories, create jobs, transfer technology. Basically, he wants China to give back what Europe has been giving for decades. Now let's flip the coin. What does China want? And why did Xi Jinping even bother hosting Macron with such pomp and circumstance? China has its own problems. America is slapping tariffs on Chinese goods left, right, and center. The European Union just imposed tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles. France led an anti-dumping investigation into Chinese brandy. So China is looking for friends. And Europe, despite its complaints, is still a massive market. 27 countries, hundreds of millions of consumers. China can't afford to lose that. There's another angle too. China wants to present itself as the reasonable one, the reliable partner. While America is being unpredictable under Trump, China wants to say, hey Europe, we're stable, we're open for business. Work with us, not against us. During the talks, Xi made some key points. He emphasized that China and France should follow their own paths, not be influenced by external pressures. Translation: don't let America dictate your relationship with us. Xi also called France an indispensable economic and trade partner. He urged both sides to respect each other's core interests, and he pushed for reform of global governance under UN rules. Basically, China wants France to help reshape the world order, one where China has more say and America has less. But here's what didn't happen. No major business deals were signed. Remember that big Airbus order everyone expected? 500 planes worth billions? Didn't happen.
Welcome, President Macron, on your fourth state visit to China. Last year marked the 60th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between China and France, and you warmly received me during my visit to France. We both agreed to carry forward the spirit of the establishment of diplomatic relations between China and France, and to give it new contemporary meaning, thus opening a new chapter in bilateral relations. China and France are both visionary and responsible independent major powers and constructive forces in promoting multipolarity and fostering human solidarity and cooperation. The world is currently undergoing rapid changes unseen in a century, and humanity once again stands at a crossroads. China and France should demonstrate their responsibility, uphold the banner of multilateralism, penetrate the fog of uncertainty, and firmly stand on the right side of history.
Why? Because China's playing a bigger game. They're negotiating with America over Boeing purchases. If they give Airbus a massive order now, they lose leverage with Trump. So they're holding back. Smart, but frustrating for France. Now let's zoom out, because this isn't just about trade. There's a massive geopolitical chess game happening here. Ukraine. That's the elephant in the room. Europe desperately wants China to pressure Russia to end the war. Macron raised it during his visit. He asked China to support a ceasefire, to stop strikes on critical infrastructure. Winter is coming, after all. But China isn't budging. They assured Russia of their continued support. Xi said China remains committed to peace, but peace, in diplomatic speak, can mean many things. And China clearly isn't ready to throw Russia under the bus.
I hope that China could join our call and our efforts to achieve, at the earliest possibility, at the very least a ceasefire in the form of a moratorium of strikes targeting critical infrastructure. This is key for the coming winter, as civilian infrastructure, in particular energy infrastructure, is still under Russian fire today. But more broadly, we must work together to achieve a just and lasting peace which respects international law.
The Chinese state media painted this visit differently. They emphasized cooperation, friendship, mutual respect, and they made sure to mention that Xi personally accompanied Macron to Sichuan province. This is rare. Xi doesn't usually do provincial tours with foreign leaders. It's a sign of honor, or perhaps a way to soften the blow of the tough negotiations. But what does all of this mean for India? Because we are not just spectators here. We are right in the middle of this shifting world order. First, the trade imbalance issue. India has the same problem with China. We import way more than we export. Electronics, machinery, chemicals, Chinese goods dominate our markets. And just like Europe, India is trying to reduce this dependency. Europe's experience is a warning for us. If we don't build our manufacturing capabilities now, we'll end up like them, caught between American protectionism and Chinese overproduction, with nowhere to go, and that's the problem. Second, the technology angle. Europe is now looking to buy new tech from China. India needs to make sure we don't end up in the same boat. We are investing heavily in semiconductors, EVs, and green energy. The race is on, and we can't afford to fall behind. Third, rare earth minerals. China controls most of the world's supply. They're using this as leverage. India has some rare earth deposits. We need to develop them and also secure more overseas access of rare earths fast. Because depending on China for critical minerals is dangerous. Finally, there's the bigger picture. Europe is realizing it can't rely on America or China completely. They need alternatives. That's where India comes in. As a manufacturing hub, as a tech partner, as a reliable democracy. The India-EU trade deal suddenly looks more attractive to them. What does Macron's visit tell us about the world we're living in? 1. The era of easy globalization is on the edge. Countries are now picking sides or trying desperately not to. Trade isn't just about economics anymore. It's about leverage, about power. 2. China is at a crossroads. They've grown by exporting aggressively, by subsidizing industries to dominate global markets. But now, everyone is pushing back. America with tariffs, Europe with investigations, China needs to adjust or face isolation. 3. Europe is waking up. For years, they've been the nice guy. Open markets, free trade, multilateralism, but that's getting them crushed. Now they're talking tough, threatening tariffs, demanding reciprocity. It's a new European order in the making. 4. The transatlantic relationship is strained. Macron literally said Europe doesn't want to be America's vassal. That's strong language. Europe is trying to carve its own path, independent from both Washington and Beijing. But can they pull it off? Finally, the developing world has an opportunity. As the West and China clash, a country like India can immensely benefit. Companies are diversifying supply chains. They're looking for alternatives to China. This is our moment, but we need to act fast. So what really happened when Macron visited China? On the surface, handshakes, pandas, and cooperation agreements. Underneath, a tough negotiation about the future of global trade. Macron threatened tariffs. Xi offered friendship but no concessions. No major deals were signed. The trade imbalance remains, and the geopolitical tensions continue. From India's perspective, this is a wake-up call. We need to build our manufacturing strength, develop our tech capabilities, secure our supply chains, and position ourselves as a reliable alternative. From a global perspective, the world is fragmenting into blocks, into rivalries. The question is, can we manage these tensions without a full-blown trade war? Or worse? Thank you for watching Statecraft.